jackpunkington here, and welcome back to my new album review format. Um, so today we're actually talking about the Marked Ones EP by Torn Away. This came out in May. Actually, I think it came out the very beginning of May, or it was Labor Day or Memorial Day. One of those days. But it was May, because I remember they were on the Detroit State of Mind podcast, and like 2 days after they were on it, they released this. This is a 5-song EP. It's about a half hour. And 2 of the songs on here take credit for probably the hardest 2 songs I've ever had to learn on guitar. That would be Marked Ones, the title track, and Insurrection. Full disclosure, I am now the other guitar player of this band, but I had planned to do this before that happened, so I'll have a separate video about that. But yeah, so we start off opening up with King Ritual, or The King Ritual, and that is a very heavy, fast-paced, hit you right in the, like, BAM! Kind of like, this is what you're in for. Torn Away is a groove metal band from Flint, Michigan. It's really interesting to start learning that style of music, because when I think of like groove metal, I think a lot of I guess like an adjacent cousin of like stoner metal, but a little thrashier. Static X is somewhat kind of like in my mind, but I guess Pantera is actually probably a closer representation, and you can actually really hear it in this EP. There are bits that are very like sludgy, acid rainy, but then there are bits that are like, you would expect that to be at a much higher tempo than it really is. Cameron, the singer and guitar player, does a really good job in his writing style to come up with making the song feel faster and a higher tempo than it actually is. Kevin on the drums just goes so hard on this EP and live. He's sick. And then, of course, we got Joe on the bass, who just can make that baby talk. So, but yeah, King Ritual is an absolute banger. It comes out with something that really slams you really hard. Then you've got They Live, which is a little slower. It's a little... It starts off a little slower, which is something indicative of some of their songs, is that they actually start off really slow and then just go nuts. This is one of those ones. It starts off with like a bam, 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 and it's very like sing-songy. But then it kind of switches into like a Metallica style where it goes, it's crazy. You can hear a lot of like Iron Maiden, I think, in this song, which is Cameron's one of his big inspirations, and it really shows in this song. Next is Insurrection, the first song to take the title of hardest song I've ever had to learn on guitar, and it's, again, this is a perfect representation of sounding faster than it actually is, because the song sounds insanely fast, but honestly it's what, 140, 150 at most. Like, a lot of their songs range between, I think it's like 100 to 150 on the max for their BPM. So it's nothing insanely fast, but the groove of how they write everything really does justice to bring it up to sound faster. And there's a lot of little tiny fills that make this song harder. But that does a really good job of just fitting in the groove sound, but being more on the thrashier side. Next, in the Marked Ones title track, Marked Ones, starts off, it's another like slow sing-songy one, and this one is very indicative of like a blues sound, which is so weird to think. This is another, sounds faster than it actually is. But if you break down the riffs and slow it down, it's very bluesy Soundgarden, which is so crazy to think. But you speed it up and it's groove torn away. Those are the vibes that I get. And a lot of people seem to really like it. Again, starts off very sing-songy, and then it just hits you right in the face with bam, da-na-na-na-na. It's crazy. And then the ending is very it's a very chug heavy song at the end, and it's and you're just like, what? And then the final song, which is Nihilist Vigil, I think is a really good representation of the groove element of the band. It is a very heavy, thick song, very, very chuggy, and it does what it needs to. It's nothing crazy fast. It doesn't have anything any crazy. I don't think there's even a solo in this. It's just chugs, it's just bass, it's just awesome guitars and vocals. And this might be my favorite song, and I'm not saying that because it's an easier song, because it's not. It's just, it's a perfect representation of groove and how important accents really are to their sound. Because you could just... I know this from learning this song, because I learned everything mostly by ear. Cameron was an amazing guy and helped out by sending breakdowns of videos, especially for marked ones. He took the time to break down that whole song bit by bit and be like, this is this, this is this. It was amazing. Nihilist Visual, though, the accents of this song and of the upstrings of choke, or chugs, not choke, are really important. And you can really hear it in this song. So it's slower than it feels like it is, but it's a really good you're just rocking out. It's a good a representation of a complicated story or popcorn. This is really good popcorn. It's a really heavy, good vibin' song. But it's not anything intricate. It's not anything crazy. As where I would say marked ones and Insurrection, and to even an extent They Live, are very you gotta listen to it a few times, kind of really break it down in your mind and just listen. Where Nihilist Vigil is very just you can vibe the whole time and it sounds great. So they do have a couple other. They have the Nihilist Visual single that came up before this. They have a 2019 single called Sinner. And if you can find it, I don't know, it's not on Spotify anymore, which is weird. They had another EP called I think it's We Will Rise, and this is back in 2019 or 2018. And that was very Sabbathy. So, I know right now they are currently working, I keep saying they, are currently working on a full album. So, we'll see where we go from there. But yeah, go check them out on Spotify, YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, all the social medias. The last show they just played was with Metal Church at the Machine Shop, and they stomped it hard. It's really cool to see this band grow. And now to be a part of it, I'm really excited for that. So, I'll talk more about that in the next video. But, yeah, definitely, they deserve all the love in the world. So, anyway, guys, Jack Punkington signing out. Peace, everyone.